Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a story that really gets under your skin. It's a tragic tale of innocence, fear, and how one single terrible lie can just completely shatter a person's soul. We are diving deep into Sherwood Anderson's classic short story, Hands.
And right from the jump, this one line sets the entire stage. It tells us, point blank, that to understand this man, you have to understand his hands. They're the most expressive part of him, but in this case, they're also the most cursed. They are literally the key to his entire tragedy.
All right, so let's dive in. Let's meet the man at the center of all this. He's been living in the tiny town of Winesburg, Ohio for 20 years, but for all that time, he's remained a total mystery to pretty much everyone.
So what you're seeing here is a picture of just total isolation. This is a man living on the literal and, figurative edge of society. He's defined by this constant nervous energy. He's in the town for sure, but he is not of the town.
And right there, that's our first big clue, isn't it? This isn't just a guy who's a little shy. It's way deeper than that. This is a man who is actively being haunted by something, this ghostly band of doubts that keeps him in a constant state of fear.
And this is where it gets really interesting. His name. His defining feature, these restless, fluttering hands, is where his identity in Winesburg comes from. They move just like a trapped bird, which is honestly the perfect metaphor for the man himself, totally imprisoned by a past he just cannot escape.
But in all this loneliness, there's a crack of light. There is one person, just one, who gets to see a completely different side of Wing Biddlebaum. When George is around, it's like a switch flips. Something incredible happens. The quiet, nervous old man, he just vanishes. The stooped shoulders straighten up, his voice gets passionate, and the real person who's been buried for 2 decades comes roaring back to life.
And I love this quote because it just perfectly captures that change. His hands, which he normally keeps jammed in his pockets, suddenly become his main way of communicating. They aren't just fluttering nervously anymore. They become the engines driving his ideas and his dreams as he shares them with his young friend.
But this freedom, this moment of connection, it's all building towards something. A really crucial and honestly terrifying moment that's going to blow the whole story wide open.
You see, Wing looks at George, and he sees this spark, this potential to dream, that he's terrified the small town is going to crush. He passionately begs the young reporter, don't become like them. Hold on to what makes you you.
I mean, this is it. This is the real Wing. He's not the town mystery anymore. He's a teacher again, a mentor. And in this pure moment of connection, he totally forgets the deep, deep fear that controls his every move. And as he's talking, he does the most natural thing a mentor could do. He reaches out and he gently places his hands on George's shoulders. But the second he makes contact, that freedom just shatters. A look of absolute horror flashes across his face. This simple, kind act of touching his friend triggers this convulsive, panicked reaction. He literally runs away without another word. So that leaves us with this huge question, right? What on earth could make a simple gesture of affection cause such a violent, fearful response?
Well, to get the answer, we have to go back, 20 years back, to a different town in Pennsylvania, and to a man with a very different name.
See, before he was the scared, lonely outcast named Wing Biddlebaum, he was Adolph Myers. And Adolph Myers, he was the complete opposite. He wasn't a town mystery, he was a gentle, beloved, and incredibly inspiring school teacher.
His whole way of teaching, it was so unique. It was all about this gentle, physical connection. He expressed himself through touch, a reassuring hand on the shoulder, a kind brush of the hair. His hands weren't things to be afraid of. They were the very tools he used to give his students confidence and inspire them to dream.
But that beautiful thing, that gift he had, that is the very thing that is going to completely and utterly destroy his life.
And this is how it all fell apart. It starts with one false story from one troubled student. But that lie taps into all the hidden fears and suspicions of the townspeople. And in an instant of just mass hysteria, every memory of a gentle touch gets twisted into something monstrous. A good man's entire life and identity are destroyed practically overnight.
All right, let's connect the dots. How does that horrible past create the frightened man we met at the beginning of the story?
And suddenly, it all clicks into place, right? That ghostly band of doubts, it's not some vague anxiety. It is the living, breathing memory of being wrongly accused and violently run out of his own home. His greatest gift,
those expressive, gentle hands, has been twisted into the source of his deepest shame and terror.
And that, right there, explains everything. His isolation, his nervous energy, and that absolute horror he felt when he touched George Willard. It was the gut reaction of a man reliving his worst trauma, that terrifying fear that his innocent affection would once again be seen as something ugly and wrong.
And the story leaves us with this one final image, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. Alone in his house, his hands, the same hands that once inspired dreams in young boys, are now just reduced to this frantic, lonely, mechanical task. It's a quiet but completely devastating portrait of a life that has been utterly broken.
You know, the tragedy of Wing Bitterbalm is the tragedy of a beautiful, innocent truth that no one was willing to see. And it leaves all of us with a really powerful question. Where do we fail to see the truth today? Who are the Wing Bitterbalms in our own lives? The people we've misjudged and misunderstood, all because we let fear write their story for them.